Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to be your own hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate bone and lung cancer patient slash survivor. Been dealing with cancer since late 2020, early 2021, doing very well. And I'm excited to be here today for a different kind of a video. And here's your commercial right now. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section of the video, and let's move on. And what I want to do today is I want to ask some questions that will provide food for thought for you, and hopefully stimulate some questions that you have with your own life and the way you do things. And this is basically an awareness type of video. And I want to throw out a disclaimer right now. I'm not a doctor and I'm not purporting to know about where these things come from. I just want to throw out food for thought, some of the things that I've seen, and have you be aware of some of the things in our world, which many of you are aware of, some of you are not. So I want to bring awareness to hopefully this aspect. Now, the first question that I have is I would like for you to ask yourself, when you were growing up, did you see the rate of, excuse me, cancer and diseases such as Alzheimer's, dementia, ADHD, like you do today when you were growing up? And if you're honest, the answer has to be no. When I was growing up, I remember hearing very, very few instances of cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's. In fact, we didn't even know what it was. It was like, what is that? And we had questions about it because we didn't know anything about it, and neither did our parents really. It's just, something that somebody happens to get, and it's not good. That's about all the extent we know. Now, basically, cancer is an epidemic like Alzheimer's and dementia. It's literally everywhere. Statistics are such that 1 in 2 men by the age of 50 will get cancer. 1 in 3 women will get cancer. And the men's major source would be prostate, and the women major source would be breast cancer. So why do we have so much of this? When I was growing up, and I'll give you some things that you could think about, and maybe you had similar things happen. I know other people that I've talked to have. When we were growing up, my family had a plant nursery. And in this plant nursery, we had workers who would spray pesticides on the weekends. And these pesticides at that time, we're talking 40, 50, 60 years ago, were so much stronger than the ones we had today. In fact, they were so strong that the effects would linger for many, many years in our air, in our water, um, in the ground as well. So what my parents used to tell me was, just make sure that you don't get hit by the spray. And that was their warning. Because at that time, we didn't have the education about these things like we do today. So we'd be running around the nursery playing tag or just hide and go seek or things of that nature that you do as kids. And we did our best to avoid the spray. Sometimes we get like, minor spray. But, we'd always be running in areas where they just finished spraying and you could feel like tiny droplets and things like that, which I know is not good. Back then, the pesticides were a lot different than what's legal today. Back then, they were so strong, uh, and now many of them are outlawed. So, there's been a big change as far as regulations, which is good. And there's a lot more listed warnings about these pesticides, and there's a lot more knowledge as to long-term effects of these pesticides. So these were not a good situation. Also, we had high wires running uh, over the nursery, and we also had like a dirt pile, and which was used for canning up the plants from small cans to large 24-inch boxes. So when they would drop a load, what would happen is they drop it and there'd be like this chemical steam coming out of the dirt for a while, maybe an hour, hour and a half. So they said, well, just make sure that there's no more steam coming out in order to play in there. And we were so rambunctious about it, we didn't care. We didn't know any better. And so we waited a while and then we would just start playing in it, but you could smell the chemical smell involved in it. So these are things that I don't believe were good long term. I don't know if these were a direct correlation to my cancer. I don't know that, but it could have been. These are, some of the things that could have been a factor. And with cancer patients, uh, I don't know if we ever know exactly how we get it. Sometimes there's a situation where a situation stands out and you say, yeah, that led directly to getting it. But unless you have an X-ray machine on your body at all times, knowing what's affecting it and what's not affecting it, we really don't know what could be the true cause of it. There's also other things. I think a lot of the things that are involved in our world have to do with the progress of our nation. Computers, cell phones, cell towers, other technology. Uh, and these are things that can lead to things that are not good for our personal health. So I believe that cancer comes from a combination of multiple things, and then it gets triggered somehow. I don't know how. I'm just, it has to be in some way because why does all of a sudden a person get cancer? Uh, I believe, this is my personal opinion, that everybody walking the earth has cancer because we all live on the same planet. We breathe the same air. We drink the water. We eat the food. Um, and we also put products on ourselves. So one of the things I want to focus on today in this session is heavy metals. And heavy metals are tiny bits of metal that can build up in our bodies over time. And some of the most common ones are lead, which is found in old paint and some water pipes. And probably the most notorious one is mercury, which I'm sure most all of you have heard of mercury. Where does mercury come from? Found in some fish and dental fillings. And I can give you a personal story about mercury. Years ago, in fact, I still go fishing, but years ago, I used to do a lot of fishing. and I used to eat a lot of fish. In fact, I ate so much fish, I probably ate it almost every day. Number one, I used to love it. It tasted great, and it was quote unquote healthy for you to eat fish. So I did. Little did we know that many of these fish that I was eating, which is tuna and yellowtail and mahi and other big predatory fish. And it's most prevalent in the larger predatory fish because what happens is they eat smaller fish that have small amounts of mercury, and then it just keeps adding up and building up in their particular systems and leads to high levels of mercury. And mercury is not good. Absolutely not good. It's one of the most poisonous things that you can put in your body. Another heavy metal that's bad is aluminum. And aluminum is found in some cookware, deodorants, and vaccines. Uh, Also cadmium, which is from cigarette smoke, some foods, but also it's found in automobile tires. And when rubber hits the road, which is everywhere, it's in the air that we breathe. So cadmium is another very bad heavy metal. Arsenic is another one, which can be found in some types of rice, water, as well as pesticides, which we breathe, and it's all over the place. So how do they get into our bodies? And we could take in these metals through, number one, the food we eat, the water we drink, the air that we breathe, as well as products that we use on our skin, such as deodorant, such as moisturizers, makeup, toothpaste, shampoos, soaps, all these things you should consider and look at the ingredients. Become an ingredient reader, because the one great thing about uh, today's world is the ingredients are listed, but many of them we don't know what they actually do. So look them up. If you're in question about a product, take a picture of the label and go home and research the ingredients. So how do they affect our health? Too many heavy metals in the body can cause problems such as feeling tired all the time, brain fog or trouble focusing, headaches or mood changes, weakened immune system, trouble sleeping, problems with your organs such as liver, kidneys, and brain. In the case of mercury, it can affect central nervous system. Back 25, 30 years ago, when I was dealing with heavy levels of mercury, my doctor had a patient. I was the second worst patient that he had. My doctor had a patient. His mercury poisoning was so bad that he could not speak. So back then, what we did was I had to go through a process called chelation. So that means I had to go in and get an IV from the doctor, and this IV solution bound with the mercury and help take it out through the system. And you want to get tested properly for these heavy metals. And the best tests are either hair or urine tests, not blood tests. So make sure that you're getting one of these types of tests to find out exactly what is going on with your own particular case. So I too would take an IV for twice a week for 6 months. And it was back then, it was expensive. That back then, 15, 25, 30 years ago, it was like $110 a pop each session for this chelation. And I did it twice a week for 6 months. So add that up. That's a lot of money. But finally I was able to get my mercury level down to a safe level. And the way it was affecting me, the high levels of mercury was it was making me jittery. I was kind of like shaking a little bit because it was affecting my central nervous system. So this is a very, very serious thing. And this is my personal belief. I think this is one of the things that possibly led to uh, an accumulation of my cancer. I don't know for sure. You almost need some kind of a full length x-ray to find out what's going on. But there's got to be a reason. It doesn't magically just show up out of nowhere. So, you know, be aware of these things. Uh, it's scary. Alzheimer's and dementia, it's everywhere. It's prevalent. And to me, this is one of the cruelest diseases on the planet. A person such as my father ended up passing away from Alzheimer's and dementia. He lived all his life, a long life. And at the end, he ended up getting dementia. And it really affected me because of the fact that uh, he was a certain way. He was a very take charge type of person. Uh, and once his Alzheimer's started getting bad, of course, he had a hard time recognizing people, and his personality totally changed. He became very meek and mild, and it it felt like he died, because the person I had known all my life was not there anymore. So when he actually passed, and this is a very bittersweet day for me, was April 1st of 2021. I got a call from my sister at 4 o'clock in the morning saying that he passed away, but it wasn't as sad for me with his actual death as when his Alzheimer's and dementia got really bad. That's when it really affected me. And, it just changes you. It just changes you. And it's such a cruel, cruel disease. Here are some ways to help your body remove heavy metals. Eat clean foods. Lots of fruits and vegetables, especially leafy greens like spinach and cilantro, and preferably organic. Foods high in fiber like apples, chia seeds, and beans. Garlic and onions, which help the liver to detox. And this is very important. Drink the cleanest water that you possibly can. This is critical. It's really, really important. Drink plenty of water to flush these heavy metals and toxins out of your body. And are you drinking enough water daily? And you also want to sweat it out. So exercise and sauna you can use to help your body release toxins through the sweat glands. And it's always good to move. It's always, you don't want to be in that office chair. In fact, move around as much as you can, even in your office situation, walk around, take a trip to the bathroom, take a trip to the lunchroom, just move. Get up and move so that your body doesn't get fixated in a chair all day long. Take natural helpers, such as activated charcoal, chlorella, or spirulina, which is an algae that binds to metals. And I suggest taking supplements that support the liver, like milk thistle, and also you can consult with me, DM me. I have a supplement that is absolutely phenomenal, which I would be willing to share with you. And lastly, as far as heavy metals go, I'll try to avoid as much as possible to avoid more and continuous exposure. Sometimes we can't avoid it. Sometimes that's just the way it is. So eat less high mercury fish, like tuna and swordfish and high predatory fish. And, especially those sushi lovers, be very wary of that, or fish lovers. If you're consuming a lot of fish, you're basically stacking it up in your body. Choose natural beauty and cleaning products, and avoid smoking and avoid secondhand smoke, which all of you know, because these are not helpful. Our bodies are smart and know how to heal, and we just need to give them the right support. We only go around once in this life, and what's the purpose of living just to be completely broken down at the very end? Doesn't make sense. So if we do things today, hopefully it'll help us down the road. Uh, be thoughtful, be mindful, feed your body good, clean food, feed your mind good, clean thoughts. And I hope that each and every one of you has a fantastic week. And I appreciate you joining me on To Be Your Own Hero. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section, and make the most out of each and every day. It's a precious gift. And, you know, once time goes, you can never get it back. And what's most important in life are the little things, the people surrounding you, your family, your friends, people that you love, and make the most out of each and every day, each and every hour, each and every minute, and each and every second. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week on To Be Your Own Hero. Take care. Bye-bye.